This is Gerald to Van Was. In this video I will compare some of these kanji verbs, or at least I will start to do that. I found this list of kanjis or characters that have Chinese origin, which have a Chinese origin in sounds, the oniomi, and in Japanese, or the kuniomi. And of course they are pronounced somewhat differently, but they have common symbols or characters, and I think it was interesting to see where the letters shine through, where you can recognize the meaning of the letters and can also recognize the meaning of the word thanks to a combination of the characters and the sounds. And in meanwhile you learn some Chinese and Japanese words and how they hang together. I also explain what I call also the word of a language, which is how it hangs together, and there is a direction in how things hang together in general, and how in the Chinese script it is more also like with the balance of yin and yang. It also demands a certain behavior according to what you see. And this I will present in several videos as well, and I wanted to take out several of these verbs, and showing also that you can sometimes have a very easy tool when you understand where the sounds are, how you can recognize the sounds, that you can recognize them also in the characters. For instance, with the B or the M or the N or the K and so on. I will present them in bits, how you can recognize these letters in totally different characters. They are not Roman characters, of course, at all. I wanted to start with the most easy ones. They were like with the letter K. So I took out all the cow words and then the kai word. Unfortunately, it was for me impossible to find the original Chinese words, so I have to stick with kai. And actually very good, because it continues where I left off, and kai can be compared also to the Japanese edition then, from which HIRAKU is most common as an expression that says to open or to develop something and so on in that way. Let's go and investigate where this symbol or character is referring to, why these sounds and also why the different sounds, and how we can understand it in the perspective of what we know, and how we have to see it according to we as people who participate in the system and who orient ourselves into the world. So kai or hiraku, to open, is our first verb of investigation. It consists actually of two, let's say, symbols, two characters that you can derive from it. It's the character which we already know as men, which is also door, kai, which is also derived into a simplified Chinese character that also means to open. You can find in between the two other parts of the first character. The men character or symbol has a different version in the new simplified version of Chinese, as you can see there, and that we already saw in a previous video as tamen, in the application of tamen, which I compared also where a person or zhen is referring to, where it is positioned to as a person to them. So we know this simplified version already. As you can see there are even two versions of it depending on which script you also use. But I will give a quick review how to come to the old symbol compared to the newer version, in which context you have to understand opening. We already started then from this symbol or character, which is referring to a person, which is basically like someone who inserts itself, that you can understand it and remember it well. It inserts itself into the sentences as the leading part in the reasonings of our conversations. A person who walks its car, connects to the running things or are, makes the openings in the order while remaining obedient to its course or je. This is the person or gen. HIRAKU or kai, as we already said, you see it here again in the three parts, the three kinds of approach. I mean, so the combined symbol, the separate symbols. Then, as you can see, the first one fits to one of the three orientations in sounds that I always use. The first kind of orientation I always present it as blue, is presented as the physical objective starting point in the world. Our three-dimensional world is used for that, and the door will be associated in the physical word. The Chinese script itself will be always in the timings, will be about timings. It's on this square as well, as you can see, and the symbols, the concepts and so on, I will present in the third category, the in red, as you can see there. That's then the concept of opening, of to open. You will notice after a while why I will do this, but I already had before the explanation of ta men or them, which basically is the ta is in two parts. It's this foundation of man with its step onto the ground, or the a, which is the same for our Western foundation of all the words. They have the foundation of a. The T is then the position where you say, okay, I can distinct something. So there are some distinctions. And this is the second part of that ta word, which basically says, okay, it's a man with its variations. Man itself, then, you can also recognize the three parts in it. Again, this foundation in that is getting a foundation in this case, in the timings, with the male, female, and neutral representations that you see there. The second part is actually the door. So it is the foundation as an opening. It's an opening in which man, of course, you can see that there in the middle, man can enter. It will fit in perfectly. It will fit into the opening of a sentence, the opening of an activity, and so on. It can be used for that everywhere. I will explain a little bit more into context that same thing before we continue in explaining all the references of the word. We know with ta its starting position in space. It's the same thing as in the Western language. The a, as you see, there's that space, the positioning. We try to position ourselves in space, so we first have to localize something. That's a. After the localization, we really know its position with t, its real position. After the place and the position, we know where to start its activity. That is ta. Gen is the way how to act as a person. That is, so you insert it, we insert it. compared to the sounds that are used here, you act accordingly to what is happening in the word you here. You know how to act in communication correctly, how to open an activity in a way. Man, I will represent a little bit different as well. Man as the English word, then. In the right, it will be fit in that same system. So you start from the person, as in the person in its application, or ta. From there, it will go to man. M is actually the physical growth, that it tries to extend its borders to the maximum from its physical idea, from its objective idea, and so on. N is always about timing, so it's participating in timing. It goes towards a participation, that it can take out concepts, that it can take out things to do, let's say. So for man as a word expresses this, it's this expansion physically to participation in the timings that you can see on top there. That's his growing idea, how man grows. If you present it a little bit as forms, you can see it then underneath in the middle. That's man. It grows out of its borders to become more than he started from. And is growing bigger compared to the symbol of person, combined with time, the line of progress in time in the Chinese script. This line will show you the horizon of the timings. It will fit into the timings, and it will fit into the timings. It will fit in the timings of a longer time, because the time there is expressed. It's da, or big or bigger, or you see it is growing bigger simply because the participation, the opening to the world, to the timings, will have a longer timing. So of course it will be able to grow bigger in that time as well, will be more dominant in that time as well. That's how the word da is used. Sorry that I still have problems with the tones, but I'm still working on that. Da men then means to open the door to whatever. So you see already, it's not just bigger, it's just a bigger opportunity to, as you can see it. It's in that way also used. And man also will become bigger, or will enlarge itself by allowing itself more time in the process, more time to participate. That's more. So it gives this longer time to participate, and that it needs to open the doors. The concept of the symbol and character of doors is presented there in the middle. The door, then the newest version of the character in the simplified English, simplified Chinese. It is presented on top, and you see it how and where it is connected. It's connected itself from the top level, from the conceptual idea towards the physical participation. Now, how do you see man then in this regard? So the word man again, the starting point of M is actually in the first category of the physical world. If you have it in the categories of letters in its order, how I have it in the system, you have 3 categories: space with 9 letters, time with 10 letters, and concept leading letters, which are there as well. They have also some 7 letters, and of course all of these categories have 9 positions. The starting point of M is the matter itself. The matter wants to extend, and N is the starting point of a placement in time. So that's the extension. It goes to an extension to some point in time. It will exceed itself and will succeed by participating in a process in time. Man himself in that way will become a door, because it will enter the system and it will act there himself as the entry and the entry point to it. M. Here you have already these categories, which the letter, the sound recognition which you have there with as M. You have also a little bit the sound recognition of N. That's something I will go into it later. But M is the bigger picture, N are the smaller parts of it that are temporarily placed. That's how you can see man, and as man with the written as the in all of its context, is then participating in the time processes. That's the difference between man, which is the ambition to become bigger, will do that by participating in the process. Man will be participating in these time processes as characters of Roman characters as letters. That's the reference point that it will seek. And where are all the letters? All the letters from the Chinese script based upon this middle section, the timings. You see already man, you see it participates in the process with the A, goes from one position in the time process to the next position. But this field, this working field, and it's a good opportunity to also name it how it is named in Chinese, and you will also recognize the letters. And here it is expressed as Tian, where you can see the symbol or the character of the field. The T is the positioning. You can have a positioning. It exists in space, but the position will go as an idea towards the field. The N, we know already where it is. That's where it has a useful moment. And of course, in the timing, it is dependent in the timing as a moment. What is that? In all of its variations, it's a specific field as Tian Di. So this is the specific field. But Tian is the expression of the symbol or the character of field, which you can also, when you think about it, and you know already how to position the letters, it is easy to remember then as well if you already know that as well. Just okay, I'm already getting away from what I was talking about. I was talking about not just about the working field, but about the man himself. One of the words that also exist and can be put onto this working field as well. You know already N are the positions of the moments for participation. You also have the word Nan Zhen. I hope I expressed it well. I'm still making mistakes, but you have already an idea where I'm going to. This now I'll express it. No, that's English. So the Nan part is, you can see as a symbol there, it is a field. That's the working field, and you have underneath the symbol for the. It's also a symbol for that reminds of the male symbol, but it is also expressing something else. It's about participation, and I will explain that one. And you have the Zhen, or man or person, as well, to remind you this is about a person who acts in a certain way on the field. And how is it presented? So actually, the symbol underneath is I know how to participate. I can participate well. I'm going for the system and I will make a connection. I make a connection, as you can see. Door, it was making this connection at the end. I will making an entry. I will do the entry, and I have the opening and make the entry to participate. So you can recognize a symbol. Compared to the symbol of person, you also see it's pulling you towards a participation, and that's also man. Not just as an opening, not just an entry, but also as a partitioner in the process. And just a last time to make a difference between the different expressions of the word of opening. You have in the first part, which is the physical expression, is the door, as you can see, at the same place as you have ta, or the positioning of, let's say, a grammatical position of where I start my position from as a person. Men as the more general communicative participation itself, or the door there, as you can see there, and then the concept, which almost seems like a key to open the door. I read in the paper that I found here that you have two expressions possible for this character. I also compare it to the Japanese and the HIRAKU opening, or kai you have there as well as the old Chinese. What's the difference then to understand? How can we understand a difference? Why is it expressed differently, and do we have to understand it differently as well? Let's go. But first, before we do that, I'll first make the association with the character a little bit more clear. What do you recognize in that character? What I recognized in it immediately when I knew it was a door, it was this kind of door, like in the Western saloons, which might not be the best idea to remember it, because the doors, you know, of course, are more like they're shifting aside, and then you have the opening in the middle. The opening is the key. Hira, if I would investigate it via my system of letter positions, it seems to be with the R a connection point in time and space, but it's not like an opening. It's that point where you have that access to open or close. Whatever you do with it, you don't do with that position anything yet, but you have all the possibilities to do anything with it. It's this last part, kai, which is the action. You hear it immediately. It demands for you a question with action. Kai or ku that comes to it can be understood also by investigating it via the letters. K is this breaking point where there's a danger that you have a couple of positions and where you might lose the game if you're not answering the question here well. K is this breaking point where you want to find a solution. By A, it says it's about something. It's about my objectivity. I have an objective goal, but I complete the idea with E. I find the right idea. This is the opener. That's the kai. There's the real opener. Why Hira is just the door. It's just the object. With kai, finally you open it. With ku, that you see there, u is always about incompleteness. It's about what isn't there yet. So you still have to act to it with ku to make it available, to make it so. And E is more the concept, how you can do that. It's the opening itself, the opening itself. What you still have, you have also the combination of the full old symbol of the door and the new symbol of the door, a simplified version of the door without without the, let's say, the key or the opener itself. And that's the expression of the door, and then the concept of the door, or the opener. And so it's the door opener. It's the door and the opening. Open or unlock a door. Kai men, then, in that way. You can understand that then, that with that kai I make the action, with men, on the level of the concept, I will have the opening. I will have the opening as a concept. I will use your opening as a concept. I will find openings and I will find participations in the timings, as it always is. So I hope this brought you closer to the underlying meaning, how all these words hang together, how they hang together in a way that is comparable at some points to how we understand English, and how, of course, letters have a foundation in time and space, and how we can understand all these things from the letter positions. I hope this was, again, a good contribution to learn all these things at once. That's anyhow the way how I am doing this. Thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.